Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, a deadly drive-by mass shooting in Delano. 5 hit by bullets and 2 women killed. We'll have the latest on the investigation.
We're heading into a holiday weekend, and instead of excitement, many health and government officials are on edge over the coronavirus pandemic and what 4th of July gatherings could do to our case numbers. Their recommendations coming up.
Plus, back to Ridgecrest 1 year later. How has the tiny desert town managed in the wake of 2 of the largest earthquakes Southern California felt in more than 2 decades? Now in the midst of a national crisis. This is Friday, July 3rd, 2020. Good morning. It's 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher and Kevin Charette, looking into this holiday weekend, and we want to check out what the weather's going to be like for anyone who's planning to head out back to the pool or the barbecue.
Yeah, and last year it was such a different 4th of July than many of us have ever experienced before, and the same goes for this year as well. Let's check in with Kevin. He has a look at our forecast for this holiday weekend. It's going to be kind of warm out there, but not terribly hot.
Yeah, it's not going to be terribly hot, but yeah, it's definitely the 4th of July. Fireworks, illegal fireworks, were going on at 1:30 in the morning. I was amazed. And as we head into the holiday, we just need to remember that we need to stay hydrated and stuff like that, because we are going to be in the mid to upper 90s. 96 was the high yesterday. That's pretty close to where we should be this time of year. And our record, look at that, 114, and that was set back in 1950. They can keep it. As we take a look at the forecast for today, we're going to start out in the 60s here. 67 in Bakersfield this time with a north wind at 5. And you can see here hour by hour, we're back into those mid-90s this afternoon. So kind of a carbon copy of yesterday. 50 degrees in Tehachapi right now. You have a light wind out of the east-southeast at 3. And you can see the wind forecast as we go throughout the afternoon will be light. And we always see that light breeze pick up into the mountains and desert in the afternoon. Here's a look at the hour-by-hour forecast for the mountains, and we will rise into the 80s once again today. We'll talk much more about our weekend forecast that's coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. It was a violent night in Kern County. There were 2 shootings, but we begin this morning with a deadly mass shooting in Delano. 2 people are dead and several others are hurt. Delano Police Chief Robert Navarez says 5 people were shot outside a home on Oleander Street. It happened around 7:30 last night. Officers say a group of people were gathered at a home when the shooting happened. 2 women were reportedly killed during that shooting. We do not yet know their ages or names. 3 others were also shot. Officers say their wounds are not considered life-threatening. Navarez says the shooting is likely gang-related. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Delano Police Department at 721-3377. McFarland police are also investigating a shooting this morning. It happened last night just before 11 p.m. on San Pedro Street. Officers say they found a woman was shot several times. She was taken to the hospital. Her condition is not known. There's also no word on who police are looking for in connection. You can call McFarland police if you have any information on this shooting.
Your time now is 5:03, and returning to Ridgecrest, it's almost been 1 year since 2 of the largest earthquakes in Southern California's history hit Ridgecrest. Magnitude 6.4 and 7.1 quakes struck last 4th of July weekend. The epicenter just outside of Ridgecrest, about 110 miles east of Bakersfield. We sent 17's Karen Waugh back out to Ridgecrest to see how the city's doing 1 year later.
Once it actually hit, everything was falling over, everything was shaking. It felt like, I don't know, it was like something right off of a movie, man.
We have significant reports of fires.
Everyone's been really shaken up. No one wants to go inside. Everyone's been outside.
For the city of Ridgecrest and surrounding communities, it's been a shaky year.
We expect we will be able to move on from this.
2 significant earthquakes, continuous aftershocks, and, of course, COVID-19.
After the earthquake, it was not uncommon to see everybody out helping others.
The support that everybody gave one another was great.
And I love it here. I love this town, and they're really good people, and they deserve the best.
I'm 17's Karen Waugh, and I return to see how these events have impacted this community.
And Karen will have a series of reporting starting tomorrow on Independence Day, on the anniversary of the first quake. For now, you can look back at our Ridgecrest coverage over the past year by going to kget.com/return to Ridgecrest. And coming up at 6 this morning here on Sunrise, we're going to speak with local geologist Emily Fisher. She'll talk about the quakes that we've seen recently and the trends that they appear to be following and how this is all connected. Be sure to stick around for that, again, coming up at 6:30 this morning.
Millions of Americans are getting ready to celebrate Independence Day this weekend, but no one in the country has freedom from the coronavirus pandemic. John Lawrence reports.
Fireworks will light up the sky in some cities this 4th of July weekend, but COVID-19 is still in the air and contagious.
I hope we don't have a reprise of what happened on Memorial Day, with lots of people out there carefree rather than careful.
Johns Hopkins University reports more than 2.7 million confirmed cases in the U.S. and counting.
If you turn your back on the virus, if you turn your back on science, it's going to bite you. And that's what's happening in most of the U.S., where we're seeing increases.
President Trump, who's expected to celebrate an early Independence Day at Mount Rushmore Friday, says the U.S. has control of COVID-19.
We're putting out the fires, but other places were long before us, and they're now, it's a life, it's got a life. And we're putting out that life because that's a bad life that we're talking about.
Travel data company Arrivalist predicts more than 36 million Americans are hitting the road this holiday weekend. Health officials once again stress the importance of being cautious.
It's not that we're against bars or drinking, it's just the science. If you have lots of people in an indoor place for a long period of time not wearing masks, you're going to have spread of COVID.
I want everybody to have a good time. Carefully, prudently, please.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
And we saw the biggest jump in coronavirus cases in Kern County so far since the beginning of the pandemic yesterday. Kern Public Health reported 171 new infections. Another person has died from the virus. Now 77 lives have been lost due to coronavirus. Since March, Public Health reported nearly 5,000 cases of COVID-19. About 3,500 have recovered. Nearly 1,300 people are isolating inside their homes. Meantime, our hospitalizations continue to rise. 102 people are in the hospital. Meanwhile, the state reports 58 people are fighting for their lives in ICU.
5:07 your time now as the number of local COVID-19 cases grows. Bakersfield Mayor Karen Gull has a message for all of us heading into the holiday weekend.
2 actions can make a difference. Wear face coverings and avoid gatherings. Why gatherings? Because you never know who's infected. Let's all do our part to help keep Bakersfield safe and keep Bakersfield open. As we celebrate the 4th, let's do it safely with respect for others, support our local businesses, and let's get our economy going again.
Local health experts expanded on the latest figures at their news briefing yesterday morning. Of the 77 COVID-related deaths, nearly 40% are attributed to state-regulated skilled nursing facilities here in Kern County. To date, 67,000 Kern residents have been tested for COVID. Of those, 92% tested negative. Another 700 are still seeking results, and 4,939 people, or roughly 7%, have tested positive. Looking ahead, county officials say a major focus will turn to ensuring local hospitals have enough staff.
Staffing is going to remain a concern to us, and we're exploring all options. Everything's on the table. We're in this together, but we don't have an easy solution today, but we are indicating that this is a problem that we're going to have to watch out for in the next few months.
Public health officials say if the county feels staffing is inadequate, one option could be to turn to the state for help. Ultimately, health officials say the best way to prevent being hospitalized is to follow CDC guidelines.
A local network of clinics is tightening up its COVID-19 testing because of how many patients are coming in to be screened. Clinica Sierra Vista says they've had more patients recently, so from now on, they will only test people who are showing symptoms of COVID-19.
We've seen an increase in the amount of patients that are showing up with symptoms, and we want to make sure that we always have test kits available.
Dr. Olga Meeves says people who aren't showing symptoms should schedule an appointment with one of the county's free sites. A reminder, you can do that by going to kerncounty.com.
And you may have to wait if you want a free coronavirus test this weekend. The county announced most free testing sites that are backed by the state or county will close for the 4th of July holiday. That includes sites in Arvin, Wasco, Tehachapi, and other outlying communities. The free testing site at the Good Samaritan Hospital in Oildale will remain open. These sites only give tests by appointment, which you can find on the county's website.
Welcome back here at 5:19. With many public fireworks displays canceled this year, officials are anticipating a lot more at-home fireworks. Along with the inherent physical dangers, amateur pyrotechnicians also need to safeguard against wildfires. Matt Uris reports from Phoenix.
This demonstration shows just how quick a firework in the wrong spot can send brush up in flames. Deputy Fire Marshal Brian Scholl shared these best practices for lighting fireworks.
Make sure you're on concrete or bare dirt. Don't be anywhere near any kind of brush or near the house. Make sure you have a water supply nearby.
Remember, only adults should light the fireworks. There are also common sense safety precautions that partiers always seem to forget on America's birthday. Don't hold a lit firework. Don't aim a bottle rocket at your buddy's head. Don't blow stuff up.
ERs are so inundated right now that we don't want people using fireworks getting hurt and then overwhelming the ERs.
Nonetheless, if history is any indicator, emergency calls will be up this weekend. And Dr. Kevin Foster from the Arizona Burn Center will be ready.
We have seen injuries from very minor injuries to life-ending injuries from every type of firework that you can imagine, legal and illegal.
With all that in mind, here's to not being that guy or gal who gets hurt on July 4th.
Matt Uris reporting. Well, safe fireworks displays are often fun, but they can be scary for your pets, as we just heard Kevin talking about. You can tell that your pet is getting scared if their tail is down, ears are back, or eyes are wide open. Animals should not be left outside while fireworks are going off. If you can, keep them inside with you. Try to keep them in a quiet room and give them distractions like food and toys to keep them busy. If you've been hearing fireworks for weeks now, you are not alone. And yeah, that was just the warm up. As we head into the Independence Day weekend, fireworks are officially allowed to be used, but only the fireworks with the Safe and Sane seal are legal. For the city of Bakersfield, they are not to be used after midnight. That's illegal. The fire department says it's ready to write fines for anyone who violates the rules. People caught with illegal fireworks can be fined $1,500, and the amount gets higher each time. Well, with the 4th of July comes a lot of celebrating, and for a lot of people, that means drinking. But CHP has a message: don't drink and drive. They're putting into effect a maximum enforcement period. It starts today at 6, and it goes until midnight Sunday, July 5th. The California Department of Public Health is advising people to cut down on unnecessary travel this holiday weekend, but some people are still bound to go out and about and celebrate. CHP reminds people not to drink and drive and to obey speed limits. Last year, during this same maximum enforcement period, 36 people died in crashes. CHP also arrested several people for driving under the influence. As calls for police reform continue across the country, Bakersfield Police is teaming up with Cal State Bakersfield to improve its police-community relationship. BPD is partnering with CSUB's Kegley Institute of Ethics and the Center for Social Justice for a 6-month review of its policing practices and reform. The goal is to learn all that the BPD's done to implement 21st century policing practices and address concerns about race, bias, and police brutality. The group will provide public written recommendations to the BPD for improvement.
President Trump is downplaying a spike in coronavirus cases across the country and preparing to head to Mount Rushmore for the 4th of July celebration tonight. Even as medical experts warn of the dangers of large crowds, Alice Barr has more.
At the start of the holiday weekend, President Trump preparing for major events at Mount Rushmore and here in the nation's capital, as leaders across the country urge people to avoid large crowds that could become coronavirus super spreaders.
The only thing we have really are people deciding that they're going to take control of this.
A record-breaking surge already stretching hospitals to the limits and shutting down struggling businesses once again.
It's pretty devastating. We just opened up. We've been open for about 2 weeks now since the last shutdown, and now we'll have to shut down again.
The new reopening rollbacks are not reflected in another record, 4.8 million jobs added last month.
Our economy is roaring back. It's coming back extremely strong.
The president's Democratic rival accusing him of declaring victory in the middle of a crisis.
We're still down nearly 15 million jobs, and the pandemic is getting worse, not better.
Lawmakers agree the country needs another relief package, but heading into a 2-week recess, they're still far apart on what to include.
But it'll be very carefully crafted. It won't be $3 trillion left-wing wish list like the House cobbled together.
If we don't do the direct payment, put money in the pockets of the American people, we're going to be in a worse economic situation.
America entering Independence Day weekend in another fight for its future. As medical experts stress the need to wear a mask to slow the spread, many states are getting serious. In Texas, there is now a mandatory statewide face covering order. And in California, one local sheriff is handing out $300 tickets to anyone found not wearing a mask in public. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.